We
Hey
are
everybody, welcome to
live.
AKA Geeks, and this is our group movie of the week. As much as a group can be, it's me and Lynn here with us. Yeah,
Hey guys, what's up again? What's that? The second
two in a
group
row.
movie of the week? There's just the
Two in a
two of
row.
us, or is
This
it
is
the
just the
third?
last time too. We got to get those other two
Uh,
slackers on, get them
yeah.
on their game. All right, so this week we chose one of Lynn's suggestions, Little Sister. Now, let me read this one. Read this one off real quick. Young nun Colleen is avoiding all contact from her family. Returning to her childhood home in Asheville, North Carolina, she finds her old room exactly how she left it, painted black and covered in goth metal posters. Lynn, start us off. What did you like about the film?
I like the room and the bathroom. No, but besides the decor that she had, and I thought this
Okay.
this movie had a lot of heart. Don't get me wrong, and this family is just as
Okay.
dysfunctional as anybody else. And for so I thought there was some good moments. It had, like I said, it had heart, had a decent storyline. There are a couple slow moments,
Okay.
but overall pretty decent story.
Anything in particular that stood out to you?
I
Because
just
you're the geek gamer.
her
guy.
interact, huh?
Goth gamer.
Yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. What's funny, and it's one of my pet peeves, but I don't want to get to that just yet because of me being gothy. But yeah, no, I have some. But I loved the interaction between her and her brother most of all, and when the two of them were together, that's when I felt the movie was at its best. And when it started to deviate from that, I okay, I understood why it was there, but I was like, let's get back to the. To me, the meat
Yeah.
and the
Okay.
potatoes were her.
Yeah,
and her
I
brother.
definitely enjoyed the stuff with
So.
her and her brother. I definitely liked her as an actress. Her name Addison Timlin. Oh, she's super
She's cute though.
She's
She's real
she
cute.
did a really good job with what she was doing. I liked what she was doing. Overall, though, I really
Mhm.
enjoyed what she was doing with her brother, and I would like to go. I think I don't know how you feel, but I think if I talk more about the negatives, it'll show you how much I like the film overall. So let's jump into some of the negative stuff,
Yeah.
some of the stuff we wish they could change or we didn't like.
Um, there's a lot of slow moments, and I had to deal with her mom and her dad, certain scenes with them, and I think they could have just. I know they were trying to give more background into them as characters, but I think the only one that served purpose was the bathroom scene, because as fucked up as the family was in the head,
Which
because
bathroom
they're
scene?
all screwed up.
The one where he found the weed,
It-
or the one?
The when
Yeah,
when
okay,
when they didn't have the weed and they were just like, but it was still an endearing moment between the two of them. You know what I mean? But I felt the mother overall was just like, I love Ali Sheedy, but she pulled off the whole needy. She was
seemed
very
like-
reliant
she
on
did
her
it-
kids.
I like what she
Still
did
call-
because, and I'm sorry if I'm going to offend anybody out there, but she did a good job of pulling off that too young to be a mother but had kids anyway kind of thing. She definitely pulled that off. Oh, they're
Yeah.
29 and now they're finally going to party, so they're leaving their kids at home alone when they're 6 years old, kind of thing. Like, definitely pulled that off.
Yeah. And then at the beginning, when she's at the art show, the 9/11 art show piece, I felt like if she was supposed to be in this gothy element, even if she was in the process of becoming a nun, she would feel a lot more comfortable, and she was not that. I came off as like that was very awkward and what have you. Granted, she's very pristine, but no matter. You call yourself goth, you should be totally immersed in the lifestyle. And as far as music, this movie failed big time on what they could have had as far as musical references to portray the scene. My favorite part was the Halloween
montage,
bit,
I like
though,
Halloween
when they're all
montage.
just
I like
having
it a lot.
fun. Yes,
You're touching on something
Yes.
right now about the whole goth scene that really frustrated me about the movie. And it just happened with right there with
Mm-hmm.
what I read about the film. It's in there highlighting that she's goth and this and that, and it shows the picture of her with pink hair on the poster. And they make when you're going into this film, there's this
Mm-hmm.
big deal made about how she's so goth, and we saw barely anything goth in this film,
Yeah.
at least from my opinion. For my
Well,
but they didn't really
her
focus on
bedroom
it.
and her
You
bathroom
see
were
the
goth,
cross.
and then
You saw the cross in the background that it was upside down, but it wasn't. The picture was the frame wasn't focusing on that. Not until they actually went to it and showed her flip it, right? So, but what I'm saying though is like for them in the description of this film, and when you just told me what it was in general
Yeah.
as well, and then when I read the description, because I read the description before I watched the film, I was like, and by the time I was done, I was like, there was like little to no goth. Like I could count them on one hand how many like moments I felt.
well, I think that was more apparent with her and her brother, and it looks like the both of them were gothy kids, and I think that's what brought him out of his shell with her. Seeing her as he remembers her, and then the change in hairstyles and things like that. But yeah, the aesthetic wise, as far as her room, her bathroom were awesome and what have you. But I didn't feel like she lived the lifestyle, even in Raleigh, North Carolina, as a goth kid in basic. I went through parts of boot camp in South Carolina. There are goth kids who completely go full on goth, and but there's no reference. There's like little offbeat musics, but nobody heir apparent. Like there's no Bauhaus, no Sisters of Mercy playing. There's no old school type goth to associate
Now
it
you
to
mentioned
what she
something
was
else that
doing.
I was disappointed with. You said how they played some stuff here and there and a little bit in the background. Uh, I felt like they wasted
Yeah.
the whole drum thing. Felt like throughout the whole
Yeah.
film
Oh
they
yeah.
wasted that.
Yeah.
Not when the brother was playing it, like when the brother was playing it and you knew that he was playing it on the other side of the door. I liked that because you got what he was doing. He's getting rid of all these frustrations and how, yeah,
He's
got that.
frustrated,
But
and
then there was
that's his
points in the movie
yeah.
where they started doing this like this thing of drum where you're expecting like a raise in temperature of the film. Like something's gonna happen and nothing's happening.
Well, no. The whole point of that, I don't know.
No. I'm talking
It was
about when
just
he wasn't
him
even around.
doing
When
it.
it wasn't when the drums were playing. When it wasn't regarding him drumming, like you knew he was drumming.
No, but the whole point is, prior to him coming out with her and being more social with her, that's
Yeah,
all he would do all day, every day. And so, naturally, what they did there, and I understand why they did it, even in scenes, as long as it was around the house or what have you, anything that had to do with either him being frustrated, his girlfriend slash wife, I didn't get the full background on
she was
her.
a
I was so
sister at
confused
first.
with her. Trisha, I thought she was just a local friend that was just there
At first
to
because
see
in
her
the video,
arrive.
one of the videos,
Because
where she's because the Colleen is the
Yeah.
little sister. They didn't show the face of the other character, and the other
Yeah.
character sounded like a girl to me. So I was like, okay, so there's two sisters and a brother, and that's what I thought. I thought they did a very bad job, very bad job of saying what she was until that scene where she's like, "Oh, I'm really happy you're still with him."
where she's in. Yeah, well, I didn't get that even until when they show that intimate scene between her brother and Trisha. That's the only time I was like, okay, this seals the deal. And then it pushed it
To
further
go
when
back
she's
to
wearing
what
the
we were
wedding
saying though
dress.
about the music, the point that I'm referring to, she's not
Yeah.
even at the house yet. It's in the beginning of the film, and they use a moment of drumming right at the beginning of the film, right? Then they stop, and then which is fine because they're kind of setting it, and they're showing the change of scenes where something's picking up momentum. Then they start doing the drums again, which she hasn't even left the wherever she was at with the nuns in New York, nuns of Manhattan. She hasn't left.
Right, but you got to remember, they started to use the drum when the email was being written to her. Like when her mother was typing out the email to her, saying her brother was home. You heard the drums in the background.
Yeah, but there was a scene where
they
they started playing the drums, and she sat down to eat, and I was really disappointed because there was no moment there that was worth. There's no.
I see. Here's the thing. Before all that, I think that was her thinking back to her brother, and they used the drums as a reference to that, without having to tell you, oh, she's thinking of her brother. You know what I mean? Because that's what I picked up on. Like, anytime I heard the drums, she's thinking of her brother. Before she got to the house. And then because it started from the moment that email got out, is when you started to hear the drums. Then little bits and pieces would flow in. Then it was constant when she was at the house. And they sort of stopped when the two of them started hanging out together.
It made me think of
you know what
Birdman.
I mean?
And how when they would start transitioning from one scene to the next, when Birdman, they did certain cuts in Birdman, but they were so well hidden. It's awesome. But they used like music to crescendo and change the scene, which worked. And I felt in this one it didn't always work when they were doing it.
I don't think they were using it to change the scene, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. I think that the drums.
My opinion is that I felt like they wasted the drumming. I understood what when the brother was drumming, I got what he was doing, but I just felt like they wasted that stuff. The other part you were talking about, how Trisha, so we both kind of feel like they did a bad job of presenting her. She was just a random girl in the house at first, and they didn't say anything.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like her character was paper thin as well.
Yeah, and then when they started to give you a little bit into her, like when she was dressed again in the same teddy, and she's out, in front of the laptop, then you drop that. I'm like, what the fuck?
Moment, I thought she was gonna Skype him, and then she was gonna see a picture of him with this girl sitting next to him, Emily. You know, obviously they're not going to catch them making out, but I thought she was gonna Skype him. Then I saw what she was doing, and then they totally avoided it right after that. Why avoid it? Give us a little bit more. Not that I want to see her like doing stuff right there, but I want to see like her as a character.
And that's another thing. Was it Emily? They dropped the ball on as well, because granted she's Colleen's friend from school, and they were the two not liked. That's why they gravitated to one another. We got that from them right off the bat. But then, she gets her to try her first beer. And she kisses her brother, and she tells him all this, and then they just drop it. You never really, and she was actually making bombs in her room before Colleen and her brother showed up. And I'm like, what the fuck? Now, mind you, Colleen's friend, Emily, was a activist / terrorist, because that's what she was labeled.
She was just what are they? Not like, I guess like a muse or something along those lines for Colleen to get in touch with who she used to be, as well as also for Jacob to realize that he's still a person, not scarred face. And
but here's the thing. Emily was more to me goth with Jacob than Colleen could ever be. I loved Emily, the actress who played her physique, her mannerisms were so dead on what I expect from a typical goth girl. Even way of thinking, she really caught it.
And her name,
and she was more believable.
Molly Plunk.
But but I mean, she comes off as the gothy / punk activist that I expect to see. Like, the only thing that she was missing was a pair of Doc Martens on her feet. You know what I mean? She pulled it off better than the girl who played Colleen. But at the same time, the three of them were supposed to be so close and what have you. And I still think they dropped the ball. They started to show it when they were playing the game and getting drunk together and what have you. But I wish that would have bled out a little bit more, a little bit longer. Not just a 5 or 10 minute thing. That should have been a lot longer. It should have been more than 1 or 2 days.
You're approaching two things I had issue with the film. And so one, I felt like with Colleen you're talking about, which I would like. Are you ready to move on to her character? Okay. With Colleen, I was disappointed in the development of her character because I don't believe that she wanted to be a nun or liked being a nun.
I got that too. I never once believed she was wholehearted about being a
structure
nun.
though, because she had a batshit crazy mom. I totally get that, but I do not for one second believe that her character, she didn't do a good job, or if it. No, I don't know. Actually, no, I take it back. It wasn't that she didn't do a good job. Is that whoever wrote the dialogue and wrote up the scenes, or her with the interactions with them, it did not portray her wanting to be, or they made her character lie about it. Should I say that? Does that sound good?
Right. Well, or at least it came off as like she was lying about it.
The nail on the head when the mom said in the kitchen, "Go ahead and go run from your problems like you always do." And I think that's exactly what it was. And and I felt like they wasted too much of this. Is my second problem, which is kind of off of the whole Emily developing her, off the whole Trish thing, developing her, and also this whole Colleen thing, is that they wasted so much time with the freaking nuns, and it amounted to nothing except for her taking her last rites, which you and I don't even believe in at this point, in her character. So, and the reason that frustrates me is the movie was 91 minutes, so it was actually probably like an hour and 25.
Hour and 21 minutes, I think it was pegged at total.
91 minutes, so take off whatever for credits.
Yeah.
So it was a relatively short film. It totally felt like this film could have been another 15 minutes longer if they took that 15 minutes to develop Colleen's character as a person, who she is, why she's running, and her frustrating so much.
Here's what I would have preferred. At the beginning, when they show her in New York, being a former goth girl, she's not visiting parts of New York that have that lifestyle. You only see her in the one place where she sees this performance piece. She doesn't literally go to a goth club or anything like that. In New York City, of all places, where she's taken her vows and what have you. And you're not going to show her in that element. You should have shown that first, then lead into the fact that she's a part of a convent, then get the email. Go straight to the library and let her read the email about her brother. Then have her reflect. Yeah, it would have made more sense there. And that's just, I don't know why they wasted that opportunity, or why they didn't want to bother showing that aspect of her.
It could have just been
to bring both sides of her.
The part with her at that little club, which that little club thing, it was supposed to portray to us that she's goth or former goth, but it didn't hit this hard because we're her waste time in a garden, and the only thing that she has that even exemplifies anything about her personality are these really like wannabe, I don't know if they're real, but like knockoff Ray-Ban sunglasses that were probably cheap, you know. And
the purple ones.
I felt like they totally wasted our time with the nuns. And if they would have shown that scene first, like you're saying, we would have been like, oh, that would have been our first connection to her, is that, oh, she likes this stuff. Oh, that's pretty edgy, you know, whatever the case may be. That's pretty edgy. That is actually probably some gothic or punk stuff. Oh, no, but then, oh, shoot, she's in a nunnery. Or whatever you want to call it. That would have totally surprised me, and my first opinion of her would have been more related to goth. What they did was, I felt like they did it backwards. They spent too much time with the nuns. They could have spent that time either better developing Emily or Trisha or Colleen as a whole, because I still feel like Colleen came out of it, even though I loved her interactions with her brother, and I felt like there was a true love there between them, like freaking Anna and Elsa. Like, they really loved each other. They had each other's back no matter what, which I really loved that. It fell flat because as a character, I felt Colleen's character was not fully fleshed out.
Definitely. I totally agree, because the only time I sat there and I looked at her, I was like, okay, where am I going to get the goth girl? And the hint of that was when she's doing the little nun act to get her to break that funk that her brother's in, and she's dancing around lip syncing. Yeah, because it seemed like it was something he was so familiar with, and she's like, so that's the only moment I said, okay. And I had such hopes, because you started out with a quote from Marilyn Manson. The movie starts out with a quote from Marilyn Manson, and I'm like, okay. But like I said, the only moments of believability that I got from her was when she was doing anything pertaining to her brother and herself. Once she started to get out of her mold to go back to who she thought she was, when she started changing her hair, the whole flushing of the drugs made no sense.
Okay, so she doesn't want drugs.
It's like,
she doesn't want to do drugs. Fine. But your parents are both consenting adults.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want to do. And I understand that she didn't like the fact that her mom was taking meds on top of drugs. But her mom's crazy to begin with. She's got issues to begin with, and you're not there. You're 3. You've been away for 3 years. So obviously you don't care enough to help to begin with. There's so many. There's
a reason. Now, don't get me wrong. There's still a lot of endearing parts between the family as a whole, because they're not, completely out of touch with one another. They're still very much want to be around each other, and that shows big time. Big time. I thought the dad, who was underutilized, was phenomenal. So cool. He was hysterical.
He's so little in the video, and he's wearing these cheap sunglasses, and it's got 1990s like graphics.
What could have been done away with is the whole scenes with their drug selling uncle, who is gay, but is married for however long. Because if you notice, married uncle to heterosexual female, but everybody around them was gay who went to their party.
Oh yeah.
Everybody was gay.
The couple, the dog.
Because you had the two ladies talking about the puppies, how the brother and sister love each other.
Troy and whatever.
But no, but my point is, they were talking to them like they were a full-fledged kids, and then you find out they're dogs, and you're like, these bitches don't know what they're talking about. That's what I said as I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? They're not even talking kids, they're talking dogs.
Oh god.
Yeah, and the baby names that they had for Colleen pissed me off.
Jacob
Sweet Pea, Chicklet.
Sweet Pea was Colleen, and Sweet Potato was Jacob.
Yeah. Good Lord, man. What are you going to call them when they're 60?
We definitely had issues, and I think most of our issues revolve around fleshing out these characters and underutilizing certain characters when they show a little bit of promise, and then they just stop developing whatever that promise was. Just because a movie filmmaker doesn't make somebody like, oh, they're edgy because they took the risk on not telling you how that person really is. I hate when let's not get too artsy with this.
Luckily this movie doesn't do that. It's not like it's #horror, which was trying to be edgy. I
don't think the director was getting cute with the characters, like trying to show you a little bit then pull away. I just think the director didn't know what he was doing, or whoever wrote the script didn't know what they were doing with these characters and how to develop them fully. Because they gave us.
See, I don't want to say that. I'd like to see something else they did, and I'm gonna try to look up for something else they did to see how they did it in a different atmosphere.
So
to see
have,
that continues
it was
on.
Written and directed by Zach Clark. On his IMDb, you have Little Sister, and then right next to it, Little Sister, in the poster of Little Sister is her like this. Right next to it is White Reindeer, and the woman in the poster looks like she's like this as well. Yeah.
Oh boy.
He's been an editor on a lot of stuff. He's only directed 6 items. I'm assuming they're all pretty. Wait a second. Vacation. That can't. Okay, it's a different Vacation. Okay. Whew. I was gonna say it was the remake of Vacation. He's director on 6 things. I don't recognize any of them. Writer on 8 things.
Okay.
Don't recognize any of them. So you're gonna he's probably all indies right now.
Yeah, so like I said, I'd like to, before we make an assumption on him as overall, I want to see if he continues this trend that that he has in Little Sister that we picked out, and see if it carries over to other projects he does. Because if he does, then we know he has no idea what he's doing.
Film, that's fine. But it was a mistake of this film that brought me down, because I was really enjoying this film. Once she got away from the nuns and she started to interact with her family, that's when I felt the movie started getting better. I felt like it wasted, I don't know, even maybe 15 minutes was 15 minutes too long with the nuns at the beginning. I'll tell you another thing I like about this film is, for how small this film is, I really like how it was shot. I felt like the camera, everything, the cuts and everything was actually pretty well done. The only camera stuff that upset me was when she was praying outside and they used the camera to do a sweeping shot over to her, and the guy, you could tell he was using it on his shoulder and he was all jungly, like he couldn't turn, and the camera was going like that, and I was like, all right, you guys couldn't put the camera on a swivel and just turn.
I think what put me out was towards the end when they're in the car trying to chase after her brother who gets kidnapped by his friends, who all they wanted to do was see him and try to break him out of his funk themselves, but for some reason he's been staying away from them. But as they're jumping from the high speed car chase, quotations here, when she's starting to see the chicken heads,
I thought that was funny.
I nearly lost it. Because I'm like, oh my god. But the thing is, with that happening, the camera was bouncing around so much. It should have been steady.
Actually filming in a real car.
Through that?
That's a good thing.
Yeah, like
they you would think
that's what they were doing, because it's... Yeah, the guy was sitting in the back going like, oh my god, this is going to suck. Why am I even in this picture?
Right there. Because let's look at what this movie's based around. It's based around a lot of death as well. I actually thought she was going to die right now. I thought because she's been trying to bring her brother out for such a long time, and mom already tried to kill herself, which was the way they put the scars. You know that the mom's suicide attempt was a cry for help because she did the cuts the wrong way. So the movie's revolving around death. I really thought they were going to do this stereotypical thing where the only person that can reach through to the guy who's still coming back from this near-death experience dies. I really, truly thought they were going to do that. And I was actually happy that they didn't.
No, my thought is because when his friends were being very... No, they were not being very considerate of him. And, by having him go through this, and, he could have died right then and there. I thought they were going that route. I thought they were going to have him coming out, being normal, being happy again with his little sister, and then suddenly you take him away from her.
That was
what she got left.
Right when she,
you know what I mean?
When she goes, Trisha, are you alive? And I was like, okay, good. They're not going to kill her, so they're going to kill him. That was my next thought.
Yeah, because when Trisha was running to Colleen's brother, I was just like,
what does that say to?
Oh man, and you see, and they focus on the leg a lot.
What does that say about us? We thought somebody was gonna die, no matter what.
Well, you figure it's a little indie picture who, to be honest, has a lot of heart. The film has a lot of heart. Each of the characters, you can tell they care about each other no matter what. And it's what brings them... That's when they're at their best, when they're actually showing that affection towards one another. And here you are, what do you go to bring it close to that? What could be close that would really fuck with the person's head? And this has happened in many indie films before, where you start to really like a character, and what happens towards the end? They kill them off just to make the other person, either learn or grow something from it. So that's why I thought, her brother's done.
The whole death thing... And on that scene also, it brought me... And I don't know how you feel about this, because you were in the military. And I know I'm not in the military, but I definitely have an opinion about this word. The word hero. was used quite a bit in this
Oh,
one. And I want to say that I want to say if this was from the director's idea of what he wanted to do with Jacob, I commend the director for doing this. Because he kind of the director's aligned with me and my thoughts of this word being overused. I'm tired of kids calling athletes a hero, and I'm tired of things like that. A hero is a hero, and we use it too much. And and even Jacob said, "I'm not a hero." It sounded like when he told the story, like an IED or a bomb went off, and he caught on fire, and he thought he was gonna die. Period. Not like he's somebody's life, and he knows he didn't save anybody's life or anything like that. He just survived.
Well, no, I see. Here's the thing, and this is coming from my background.
Yeah,
we don't know, Jacob, what happened. We only get the smidgen that it came from a bomb. Okay, he could have pulled people away from it. He could have thrown himself, considering it was just his face. He could have, blocked it, or he could have been doing something. Because if you look, it's not just his face, because his hands are a little bit beat up as well, burnt as well. Nowhere near to the excess of his face. But he was just doing what what he expected to do, and as a former soldier, and you're doing what you're doing, and you're not doing it for glorification. You know what I mean? And that's what I liked about Jacob, is that's the reaction that I was getting from him. He was not doing it to be a hero. That's why
we know, it
he didn't want to hear from
simple where a
the
bomb
news.
Exploded near them and caught him up.
Well, no. But the thing is, it was something major, because the CNN wanted to talk to him. Everybody was raving about him, and he just wanted to be left alone. I didn't do it for all this, and I trust me, I understand that part. I've been with friends who've gone through that type of stuff. It's not about the glorification. It's appreciated that they're acknowledged for the accomplishment, but it's not about being a hero. It's just about doing what we need to do and keep on
going
working.
With that is what the director did with the last part of the film is after he goes to the hospital after the whole stripper incident, and they go, "Oh, he's gonna survive this. He's a real hero for surviving this." And I was like, there it goes again. I think the director was trying to show you that we're overusing this term when something normal, in the sense of, like you're saying, he was just being a guy in the military to be a guy to do what he was supposed to do that day, and something happened, whatever it was.
See, that scene in the hospital actually pissed me off more than any other time it was used, because in that scene, I felt I think the nurse was not only minimalizing but pandering and showing him as actually weak, because he's gone through this, he's going through this, and now look, he's coming out of this. What more can he be but a hero? No. Any person who's going through the hospital and he's still breathing is a person. They don't want to be, they just happy to be alive. God damn it!
He's trying to make, he made
it perfectly clear
for putting himself on the line with that, because you talk to a lot of people, they're not going to come with the same opinion that I have, about that word, about hero. Another word that pisses me off is warrior. Oh, Cam Newton's a warrior. What? Stuff like that. That kind of stuff really pisses me off, because it's reserved for people of actual excellence. And the director, I think, was trying to make a point about that we use it too much. He's just a guy doing what he was supposed to do. He survived it. Whether he is a hero or not, that's to be deemed, outside of just some random Joe Schmo from saying, because he survived being suffocated between a stripper's tits. So, you get what I'm saying? I was like, I got respect for you, director, because, you put yourself out there on the line, and I appreciate what he did with that. Overall, Lynn, let me know what you think about this film.
Just on heart alone is an A. But, the failure in pushing some of the characters over another and setting-wise, and like I said, failure as far as getting that atmosphere that she was supposed to be wholeheartedly into, especially back home, that's where it drops it down to like a B+. I want to say B minus almost because of that, because it could have been, but I'm going to stick with the B plus overall, just because it needed work on those points that we talked about.
I actually agree with you. It's a B plus for me. I felt the camera work that the whoever was the cinematographer for this, overall, for the most part, 90% of the film to me did a really good job. The shots they set up were really nice. I love the scenic shots where they really took in the North Carolina ambiance of the foliage and everything. I liked that. I liked the acting. I didn't think anybody was too over the top. I felt like everybody was hitting their marks. I agree with you about the part they didn't flesh out the characters, and that's where it really fell flat for me. Was when they didn't flesh out the character, or they provided you a little bit, and they expect that little bit that they provided to be the whole basis of this one character. And I felt like they could have added 10 or 15 minutes to the film. I would have still been watching it because I was still enjoying it at 130 minutes, or they could have taken out some of the stuff with the nun.
Yeah.
So overall, I was enjoying it for being right when I started watching. I was like, oh, this is a little indie movie, and I was like, but overall, the quality of it was pretty well done, and so I give B plus. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it to other people looking for something to watch on a Friday night, that's the reason why I started Movie of the Week. I want to recommend stuff to people. Hey, they come watch our stuff. Say, Sean, Lynn, what do we watch? We got the family this weekend. We got family. Oh, watch Sean's thing about Lion King or Finding Dory. Maybe you want to watch that.
You know what's funny is that I saw a lot of similarities to this and what could have been another successful for the film along the lines of like Napoleon Dynamite. Because if you go back to when Napoleon Dynamite, when it first came out, minus the MTV, because what made it big was word of mouth. Because when it first came out, I remember watching the review by Siskel and Ebert, and the review that he gave had nothing to do with the overall feel of the film. He took the one aspect. He took the one aspect of Napoleon getting the suit when he's like in that one story, and he buys the suit. He took that as the majority of the film.
He reduced it down to that.
But nonetheless, yeah. But I mean, this could have been along the lines of Napoleon as far as they had endearing characters. Some of them should have been more, well-rounded, more fleshed out than they were. Some of the backgrounds to the main character should have been more fleshed out, more noticeable, and you would have had a unbelievable, without a doubt, niche film that people would have gravitated to like Napoleon. It would have been a cult hit. But I think certain spots that we touched on, that's where it dropped the ball.
And we've touched on we've hit, I think, a lot of the spots that, because we've hit on a lot of the spots that brought the movie down. I watched the film. At the end of the film, I was like, I really enjoyed this. And I told myself, because I watched it yesterday, but I told myself, Sean, you need to look at this one critically, because there were some parts that you noticed in the film that weren't entirely how I wanted it to be, or how I thought it should be, or I just thought it wasn't well done. So I had to tell myself, don't just go with how you're feeling at the end of the film. I had to retrace my steps with it, and it could have been this awesome little thing. It was good. It was really good. B plus good for both of us. So yeah. So
definitely.
That ends this week's episode of Movie of the Week Group Edition. Next week I will be doing the Lone Wolf Edition. I'll be jumping into some more Oscar-nominated films before the Oscars come out. I'm going to try to get you guys with the twofer next week, and we'll see how that goes. I'll do at least one, but hopefully the twofer. Lynn, let us know what's going on with the AKA Geeks.
Hopefully we got the podcast going tomorrow, so we'll get that out of the way, have you guys up for that live and in charge as always. Hopefully we'll have, if not both of them back, and it'll be a 4-score, you'll get all 4 of us under one shot, but we'll see how it goes. And in the meantime, I still have to put up my last Loot gaming box and my Loot Crate box. I'm behind on too much. It's been frustrating with whole story, but won't get into it. We'll talk about it on the podcast. So just catch us on that, and
catch us on all of our social media. Like, share, subscribe us with all your friends. I actually am gonna have a unboxing probably at the end of February. I think probably around the first week of March if it gets here fast enough. So hopefully I get that to you guys soon. Tomorrow will be real news as well. There's more news that just came out yesterday, or was it this morning, about Eddie's favorite movie, which I look forward to talking about. And you catch both Lynn and I on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Play some games with us. And for Lynn, I will say goodbye, you guys.